Hi everyone, Ger Clancy here from IBM. At the most basic level, due to the strict standards involved, a Peppol document output on your behalf by IBM or by any other service provider must be indistinguishable from another. This is because the document itself is genericized. So, where Peppol providers like ourselves compete is on how we deliver you the Peppol client experience, on service levels, on support, and very importantly on what we do for you beyond Peppol. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today, going beyond Peppol with artificial intelligence from IBM. For some time now we've been training our artificial intelligence to understand EDI formats such as X12 and EDIFACT, and I'm going to show you now AI applied to Peppol using a tool we call Business Transaction Intelligence, or BTI. In a complex order and fulfillment world, customer service can be a lot of detective work, trying to follow back the trail of documents from the point where a problem is raised, back to the source to deduce what happened, why, when, and what to do about it. Above all else, it takes a lot of time trying to correlate individual steps from a linear flow of random documents over a random time frame. In a large enterprise, they may need to filter amongst many thousands of documents and hope that they don't miss anything out along the way. This is where BTI can help. We're going to start now in IBM Flash, which is our track and trace tool for our Peppol and EDI services. And we're looking here at the linear chronology of all of the documents being sent or received on behalf of a client over time. Now, the search tool here on the left-hand side allows you to search by the type of document or the direction, inbound or outbound, to set parameters from, to, when it was sent or received, as well as details around the sender and receiver, even down to the status of the document. But the first thing you need for any of those things are the actual parameters to know by document name or by document number or EDI transaction code or timestamp. You need to have a lot of parameters to start with before you can actually search. So if a document is named for itself, then you can easily find it. Like if you're searching for an order document using the purchase order number, but the corresponding dispatch advice or ship notification or invoice will all respectively identify themselves. So the references linking back to the transactional flow are buried inside those individual documents. Therefore, if you're tracking back an individual end-to-end transaction, you're going to need to find the references for each document first and then individually search for each one of those. So if we look into the detail of an individual document and dig into the actual full backend data of that, you can see here, if I go into the detail, that it started off life as an X12 document, which was then transformed into a Peppol document, and inside of the Peppol document, here we can see the order reference number in this invoice, but you wouldn't have found that so easily because the actual document itself is numbered for the invoice number. So now here we are in BTI. What BTI does is it digests the Peppol and EDI flows as it passes through the IBM system, and it watches for certain correlation points, and when it spots them, it associates them into the logical transactional flows and correlates them with other related documents, more or less in real time. So in this case, this order beginning A2 is part of a flow containing an order in, an acknowledgement out, a shipment out, an invoice out. And as you can see here, the order was for a quantity of 3 items. The acknowledgement also acknowledged more items than were originally ordered. That could be a source of customer service call itself straight away. But then the shipment was 3 items out of 3, and the invoice also 3 items out of 3. But in this case, if somebody called up to say, hey, you've sent us an acknowledgement, then it's quite easy in this moment to say, well, actually, there was an error on the acknowledgement, but we received an order for 3, we shipped 3, we've billed you for 3, and don't worry about that. That was just an administrative error that's not had any impact. But what that means is, from the river of data, you're building a related order through invoice flow, correlating the results to spot trends and anomalies. Then what you can see here is a heat map of the various parameters which the system has recognized across your trade across the past period of measurement. So it can look at the invoice values or the count of documents, the size of the size of the actual data file, and a number of other parameters across the value and the time frame, the count of documents, and then the system will establish a baseline of what is the normal rate of documents, of document sizes, of order values or transaction values over time, and look out for outliers, either above or below, that on a particular date you normally would expect, according to the system, to receive no documents and you received a high volume, or a low value and you received a high value, and vice versa. And this allows you as a business user to get ahead of trends. So if you're used to receiving 100 orders a day and today you receive 0, well, then you know that something is out of the ordinary. Or if you normally expect to receive 1,000 orders a day and you only receive 100 or 10,000, then likewise something is out of the ordinary. And it may only need you to ask the question to look and see what's out of the ordinary, but this is alerting you ahead of time to things that are anomalies in your trade, and gives you a chance maybe to act rather than react to solve something that could turn into a bigger problem later. So now let's have a look at BTI in action. I've prepared a set of documents, demo documents, in XML covering an order, through order, confirmation, dispatch advice, and invoice flows. The original data of this is XML, which, as you can see here, XML is human readable, but in truth not human readable for your average business user. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to FTP these documents into IBM InFlight and our Peppol access point. They will be forwarded on from there then into Business Transaction Intelligence, and I'm going to show you how that will correlate in near real time. To start off the flow then, let me do this. Get the first one going. This is sending the test purchase order. I'm going to go back then to InFlight here, and I'm going to refresh InFlight, and there you can see the order popping in and being transferred to BTI. And now I've already put in the show me the order reference at the top here and search for this, and there's the order already received one order for this UPC code with a quantity of 3 items properly received, and the detail of the order down there to the left. So now back to FTP, and I'm going to send the order response, which is going to confirm that we can deliver those 3 items. Back to InFlight. Now you've got that document passing through InFlight, and back to BTI. And now you've got the order acknowledgement also up here in BTI, confirming that that order has been received for the quantity of 3 and will be fulfilled with 3 items. So now going back again to FTP, and I'm going to send the dispatch advice for quantity of 1 of those documents. Okay, so back here in InFlight, and you can see there's the first dispatch advice gone out. As you can see here, the reference number for the order response was the same as the purchase order, but the reference number for the dispatch advice is already different. And this has been forwarded on now to BTI. Refresh again in BTI. So in the ship notice, you see here the dotted line around that saying that it's actually incomplete. So it's telling us that we've received an order for a quantity of 3 and we've shipped 1. Now I'm going to go back and issue the invoice corresponding to that one document, or sorry, to that one item that we've shipped. And now, as you see here, the invoice, again with the dotted line because it's a partial, has been received into BTI, and it's showing that the quantity of one item has been invoiced out of 3 ordered. Now back again to send the next one. This is the dispatch advice for the second of 3 items. Refreshing here in in-flight and back to BTI. Now you can see in BTI you've got a second document appearing for the ship notification. So you've got 2 shipments. And if you see here at the tracking number, so you've got this one ending in 31. And this one ending in 30. So 2 separate shipments that are still respectively 1 of 3 each. I'm going to send the invoice now for that corresponding one. Refreshing this in flight and back to BTI again and refresh again here. Now you see there's a second invoice has been received pertaining to that original purchase order. If I click into this, so now you've got 2 invoices received, each one of which, if I go into the invoice, is invoicing a quantity of 1 of 3. And as you can still see, the total transaction is still not complete. So now we're going to go back and send the final dispatch advice. At the same time, I think I'll send the final invoice as well. Okay, and back to BTI. And there you have it. The third dispatch advice has been received and processed, the third invoice received and processed, and now the end-to-end order is complete. So in the view then, if you're going back as a customer service agent to reconstruct and revisit this discussion and this transaction, all you need to do in this case is to search for the order number of that original purchase order, and you'll be able to see the whole document flow arranged in this sequence with as many shipments or as many dispatch advices or as many invoices as it contains.